A billionaire was about to sign and lose everything until a poor janitor whispered in his ear. And what he did next surprised everyone in the boardroom, with pen in hand, ready to sign a deal that would wipe out everything he'd built. But then, just 7 words, and his life changed forever. Hello, my dear family. And if this is your very first visit, I want you to know, you're already home. This isn't just another channel. It's a safe place where hearts are held gently, and every word is written to pour love back into you. Before we start, allow me to send a quiet prayer your way, soft, tender, and full of every good thing I long for you to have. May your heart find the kind of comfort that feels like being wrapped in the warmest blanket. May every tear, whether long past or silently hidden, be touched and healed by peace. May love surprise you in the still moments you didn't see coming. I pray that each breath you take makes your burdens a little lighter, that the world feels a bit safer today, and that your soul never forgets. You are enough, you are wanted, and you are a walking miracle. My sweet and beautiful family, please don't let this story end without you. This is more than a tale. It's a piece of my heart, written for you. If it stirs something in you by the end, I ask, leave your rating in the comments, not for numbers, but to connect, to share love. If you choose not to, I'll still value your presence, because your voice matters here. Like this video, leave a kind word, and share it with someone who could use a bit of light today. Together, let's remind the world that love is still alive, in every line, in every heart that chooses to stay. Now, let's begin this story, with all my love, always. The boardroom of Torres Enterprises overlooked Puerto Sol's glittering coastline, where turquoise waves kissed golden sands and the boardwalk pulsed with life. Alejandro Torres, CEO and founder, sat at the head of a polished mahogany table, his pen hovering over a contract that promised to catapult his ecotourism empire into global dominance. The merger with Horizon Ventures would fund sustainable resorts across the Caribbean, securing billions and cementing his legacy. His team, executives in tailored suits, led by his COO and lifelong friend, Carlos Mendez, chatted eagerly, their voices mingling with the distant salsa music drifting from the boardwalk. Alejandro's focus was razor-sharp, seconds from signing, when the door creaked open. Sofia Reyes, a janitor in a faded blue uniform, stepped in, pushing a cleaning cart. "Perdón, I'll just empty the bins quickly," she said softly, her voice barely cutting through the celebratory hum. No one paid her much mind. She was part of the background, like the murals of coral reefs adorning the walls. Sofia moved to the trash can beside Alejandro, her movements deliberate. As she bent to adjust the bag, she leaned close, her breath warm against his ear. "Don't sign," she whispered. "It's a scam." Alejandro's hand froze, the pen slipping from his fingers to clatter softly on the table. His dark eyes locked onto Sofia's, searching for meaning in her steady gaze. "What?" he murmured, barely audible. She straightened, her expression neutral, and resumed her task, pushing the cart toward the door as if nothing had happened. The room's energy shifted, a ripple of unease beneath the surface. "Alejandro." Carlos leaned forward, his smile tight. "Everything okay, Mr. Torres?" Maria, Horizon's lead negotiator, asked from across the table, her tone polite but edged with impatience. "Ready to sign?" Alejandro swallowed, his gaze darting to the contract, then to Carlos, Maria, and finally Sofia, who was nearly at the door. The world tilted, the ocean's rhythm outside suddenly too loud. "I need 5 minutes," he said abruptly, standing. Murmurs of surprise followed, but he was already moving, ignoring Carlos's protest. "Alejandro, we're all here." And Maria's sharper. "The terms are final, Mr. Torres." He caught Sofia in the hallway, her cart rattling softly. "You," he said, his voice firm but low. "With me now." She hesitated, her brown eyes wide, then nodded. They entered a small break room, its window framing the vibrant boardwalk. Vendors selling ceviche, children painting murals on the pier. Alejandro shut the door, crossing his arms. "Explain." and convince me you're not out of your mind for interrupting a billion-dollar deal. Sophia clutched a trash bag, her knuckles paling. I know it sounds crazy, but I've heard things, conversations no one else did. Horizon and Carlos are setting you up. The merger will bury you in debt and strip your assets. Who's they? Alejandro's voice was sharp, his skepticism warring with a chill down his spine. Carlos Mendez and Horizon's execs, including Maria, Sophia said, her voice steadying. They've hidden clauses in the contract to transfer your company's core assets to a shell corporation. If you sign, you'll lose everything. Alejandro stared, his mind racing. Sophia was a nobody. 8 months on the cleaning crew, quiet, invisible. Yet her words carried a conviction that unnerved him. Your name? Sophia Reyes. How long have you been here? 8 months, evening shift. He stepped closer, his gaze piercing. If this is a lie, Sophia, you're done here. Fired, no questions asked. She nodded, unflinching. I understand. But if I stay silent and you lose it all, I'd never live with myself. Why risk it? What's in it for you? Sophia's eyes flickered with something. Pain, resolve. Because it's right. And because I know what it's like to lose everything. Alejandro turned to the window, Puerto Sol's vibrancy mocking his turmoil. Proof. I have photos, recordings, documents, Sophia said. I can show you tonight, 7 o'clock here. If I don't convince you, fire me. He nodded, dismissing her. As she left, he pressed his forehead against the glass, the contract waiting in the boardroom now a question mark. Back in the meeting, he faced a sea of expectant faces. I need to review the terms again, he said, closing the folder. We'll reconvene tomorrow. Carlos stood, his fists on the table. Alejandro, this is insane. Horizon has other offers. We're wasting time. Then let them take those offers, Alejandro said coldly, tucking the contract into his briefcase. Maria's eyes narrowed, her composure cracking. The market's volatile, Mr. Torres. Delay could cost you. My decision, he said, leaving the room, their protests fading behind him. At 7 o'clock, Sophia waited in the break room, a backpack on her lap. Alejandro entered, his expression guarded. Show me. She opened her phone, her hands steady despite a faint tremble. 3 weeks ago, I was cleaning Carlos's office late. I heard him talking to Maria through a speakerphone. She played a recording, the audio grainy but clear. Once Alejandro signs, we control the assets. He's too trusting, always has been. Carlos's voice was unmistakable. What if he notices the clauses? Maria asked. He won't. The shell company's buried in Addendum F. By the time he figures it out, we'll be untouchable. Alejandro's jaw tightened. Sophia swiped to photos, snapped documents showing a shell company, Sol International, with Carlos and Maria as beneficiaries. Another image revealed a $10 million transfer from Horizon to Carlos's personal account, labeled consulting fees. This addendum, Sophia pointed, cuts your control to 15%, not the 70% in the contract you saw. This is fraud, Alejandro whispered, his voice rough. Carlos, we've been friends since college. What? Money changes people, Sophia said quietly, or reveals who they were all along. Why tell me? You could lose everything. Sophia hesitated, her eyes distant. Because you're not like them. You treat us, the cleaners, the staff, like people. And because I've seen what betrayal does. I couldn't let it happen to you. Alejandro studied her, sensing a deeper story but respecting her silence. These photos, recordings, how do I know they're real? You don't, Sophia admitted. But if you sign tomorrow, you'll lose Torres Enterprises. I'm risking my job to stop that. He nodded, dismissing her. Alone, he stared at Puerto Sol's lights, doubt gnawing at him. Carlos, his brother in all but blood, betraying him? It seemed impossible. But Sophia's evidence was damning. The next morning, Alejandro arrived early, driven by sleepless hours replaying the recording. He went to HR, requesting Sophia's file. The HR manager, Rosa, raised an eyebrow. The janitor's file? Is there a problem? Routine check, Alejandro lied. The file stunned him. Sophia Reyes, 29, MBA from University of Miami, former analyst at Deloitte, specializing in corporate finance. Deloitte? Why was she scrubbing floors? Her resume hinted at a sudden career drop, but no details explained it. At lunch, he found Sophia cleaning a conference room's windows. "Sophia, we need to talk." She turned, startled. "About Carlos?" "About you." He crossed his arms. "University of Miami, Deloitte, corporate finance. Why didn't you tell me?" Her face paled, the cloth slipping from her hand. "You checked my file. Why's an MBA cleaning my offices?" Sophia glanced around, ensuring they were alone. "It doesn't matter here. I'm just the Latina janitor." "But Deloitte." "I was good," she interrupted, her voice bitter. "Top performer for 3 years. But promotions went to others, less qualified, better connected. They said my style didn't fit leadership. Then my daughter, Elena, got sick, leukemia. I took time off, and they restructured my role. I needed steady work, health insurance. This job was all I could get." "Your daughter?" Alejandro's voice softened. "Elena's 6, Sophia said, her eyes glistening. "She's in remission, but her treatment's ongoing. The insurance here covers it. I can't risk losing that." Alejandro's chest tightened. Sophia wasn't just a whistleblower. She was a mother fighting for her child. "Why warn me, knowing the risk?" "Because you're different," she said. "You thank the staff, learn our names. And because Elena's paintings, she loves art. Remind me there's good in the world. I wanted to protect that." Their conversation was cut short by Carlos's voice in the hall. "Alejandro, what are you doing here?" He approached, eyeing Sophia suspiciously. "Checking the cleaning," Alejandro said smoothly. "You know I'm particular." Carlos's gaze lingered on Sophia, who resumed her work. "Since when do you micromanage janitors?" "Since I started noticing details," Alejandro replied, forcing a smile. "Lunch? We need to discuss the contract." Carlos nodded, but his eyes flicked back to Sophia. "In the elevator," he probed. "You've been off since yesterday. Something I should know?" "Just nerves," Alejandro said, searching Carlos's face for deceit. His friend seemed genuine, but Sophia's words echoed. Money changes people. That afternoon, Sophia was cleaning a restroom when she overheard Carlos and Maria outside. "Sophia's trouble," Carlos said. "I saw her with Alejandro. She's the one who tipped him off." "Are you sure?" Maria's voice was sharp. "She's just a cleaner." "She's too smart," Carlos replied. "I checked her file, Deloitte MBA. We need her gone before she ruins everything." Sophia's heart raced. "They knew." "How?" Maria asked. "Accuse her of theft," Carlos said coldly. "Plant evidence. Fire her publicly. Alejandro won't defend a janitor over me." Sophia pressed against the wall, tears stinging her eyes. She'd risked everything to save Alejandro, and now her job, Elena's lifeline, was in jeopardy. The intercom crackled. "All employees to the auditorium for an urgent meeting." In the packed auditorium, Alejandro sat in the front row, confused by the sudden summons. Sophia stood at the back, her head high despite her trembling hands. Carlos took the stage, a folder in hand. "We've uncovered a serious breach," he announced. "Confidential documents were stolen from executive offices. After investigation, we've identified the culprit, Sophia Reyes, cleaning staff." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Carlos's eyes locked on Sophia. "Ms. Reyes, come forward." She walked to the stage, her dignity unshaken despite the stares. "Photos of sensitive documents were found on your phone," Carlos said, holding up printed images. "Explain." Sophia looked at Alejandro, pleading silently. "I was trying to." "Trying to what?" Carlos cut her off. "Sell secrets? Security footage shows you in my office after hours." He passed photos to the front row, including Alejandro, whose face hardened. "Theft is a crime," Carlos continued, "but we'll settle for termination. Security, escort Ms. Reyes out." Sophia's voice broke through. "Alejandro, you know I was trying to help. You saw the evidence." Alejandro stood, his jaw tight, but his eyes avoided hers. "I'm sorry, Sophia," he said quietly. "The evidence is clear." Her heart shattered. "When you learn the truth," she said, loud enough for all to hear. Remember, you had a chance to do right today, and you didn't. Security escorted her out, her tears falling as she clutched a box of belongings, Elena's health insurance now gone. Back in the auditorium, Carlos placed a hand on Alejandro's shoulder. Tough call, but you did the right thing. Let's focus on the merger. Alejandro nodded, but Sophia's words haunted him. That night, unable to sleep, he drove to the office, the empty halls echoing his doubts. Sophia's expertise, her courage, why would she steal? He accessed the merger files, digging deeper. On page 52, he found a reference to Addendum F, missing from his copy. Using his CEO credentials, he uncovered it in an encrypted folder. Seoul International would gain 85% of Torres Enterprises' assets, with Carlos and Maria as shareholders. Bank records showed $12 million transferred to Carlos's account, mislabeled as merger prep. Alejandro's hands shook. Emails between Carlos and Maria confirmed a hostile takeover, with Carlos writing, "Alejandro's blind trust is our greatest asset. He'll sign and we'll be gone." A recorded call sealed it. "He's too loyal," Maria said. "If he suspects, we frame him for fraud." By dawn, Alejandro had enough to bury them. But Sophia's words stung. He'd failed her. Using HR records, he found her address in Puerto Sol's Barrio Azul, a working-class neighborhood of colorful murals and tight-knit families. He drove there, parking outside a modest apartment building, its walls adorned with a child's painting of a lighthouse. Elena's work, he guessed. Sophia answered his knock, her eyes red from crying. "What do you want?" "I found the truth," Alejandro said. "Carlos, Maria, they're scamming me." "You were right." She laughed bitterly. "Now you believe me? After you let them humiliate me?" "Please, Sophia. I was wrong. Let me explain." She hesitated, then opened the door. Inside, the apartment was small but warm, filled with Elena's vibrant paintings, seascapes, lighthouses, starfish. A frail girl, about 6, peeked from a hallway. "Mommy, who's that?" "My daughter, Elena," Sophia said. "She's not well today." Alejandro's heart ached. "I had no idea how much you were carrying." "Elena's treatment." "I told you she's sick," Sophia snapped. "I needed that job for her insurance. Now it's gone because I tried to save you." "I'll cover her treatment," he said. $300,000. Today, no strings. "I don't want your charity," Sophia said, standing. "You betrayed me, Alejandro. You knew I was trying to help, and you said nothing." "You're right," he admitted, his voice breaking. "I was torn. Carlos was family. I failed you, but I want to make it right." "How?" she demanded, tears falling. "Elena's insurance is gone. I'm back to square one." "Let me clear your name," he said. "I'm exposing Carlos and Maria tomorrow. Help me, Sophia. Your evidence, your recordings. Together, we can end this." She looked away, her hands trembling. "Elena needs me. I can't risk more. I'll protect you both," he promised. "And when this is over, I want you back. Not as a janitor, as VP of Finance. You belong in leadership." Sophia's eyes widened. "VP? That's real," he said. "You're brilliant, Sophia. I need you by my side." She hesitated, then nodded. "I'll help. For Elena, not you." The next day, Alejandro rescheduled the board meeting. The auditorium was packed, Carlos and Maria in the front row, smug. "I'm announcing our new VP of Finance, Sofia Reyes," Alejandro began, as Sofia stepped onto the stage. Gasps followed. Many recognized her as the fired janitor. Carlos stood, furious. "This is absurd." "Sit down," Alejandro said coldly. Sofia projected the forged contract, revealing the 15% control clause. "This is the real merger," she said, then played Carlos's recording. "Alejandro's blind trust is our greatest asset." The room erupted. Bank records followed, showing Carlos's $12 million transfer. Carlos stammered, "This is fabricated," but Maria's silence betrayed them. Puerto Sol police, tipped off by Sofia, entered, arresting them for fraud and extortion. The board applauded, and Horizon's CEO, unaware of Maria's scheme, pledged an honest merger. Alone on stage, Alejandro hugged Sofia. "You saved me," he said. "We saved each other," she replied, smiling. 3 months later, Sofia stood in her new VP office, overlooking Puerto Sol's coast. Torres Enterprises had grown 25% under her financial reforms. A knock interrupted her. Alejandro, with hibiscus flowers. "For my VP," he said, grinning. She laughed, accepting them. He drove her to the boardwalk, where Elena, now healthier, painted a mural of a sailboat. "Remember our first talk?" Alejandro asked. "You risked everything to warn me. And you became the man I knew you could be," Sofia said, taking his hand. He knelt, pulling out a ring. "Sofia Reyes, you're my partner, my love. Marry me." Tears fell as she nodded. "Yes." Elena ran over, hugging them, her paint-splattered hands leaving colors on their clothes. As the sun set over Puerto Sol, their new family stood together, the ocean whispering promises of hope. The Puerto Sol boardwalk shimmered under the early September sun, its vibrancy amplified by the annual Fiesta del Mar, a celebration of the city's coastal heritage. Colorful banners fluttered above stalls selling empanadas, hand-woven bracelets, and paintings of lighthouses and waves. The air carried the scent of grilled octopus and coconut, mingling with the laughter of families and the rhythm of a merengue band. Sofia Reyes stood at Torres Enterprises' booth, her new title, Vice President of Finance, still feeling like a borrowed dress. Her engagement ring sparkled as she handed out flyers for the company's eco-tourism initiatives, her smile genuine but tinged with the weight of her new role. Beside her, Elena, now 7 and glowing with health post-treatment, painted a mural of a starfish on a community canvas, her small hands steady with purpose. Alejandro Torres, in a linen shirt and sunglasses, mingled nearby, shaking hands with local leaders, his presence commanding yet warm. 3 months had passed since the dramatic boardroom showdown that exposed Carlos Mendez and Maria's betrayal. Torres Enterprises was thriving, with Sofia's financial reforms boosting profits by 30% and securing a legitimate merger with Horizon Ventures. Their engagement had sparked whispers across Puerto Sol, janitor turned VP marrying the CEO, but the community's pride in Sofia's rise drowned out the gossip. Yet, beneath the celebration, new currents stirred. Carlos's arrest had left a void in the company, and whispers of a rival firm, Mar Azul Ventures, exploiting the fallout reached Alejandro's ears. Their CEO, Javier Ortiz, a former ally of Carlos, was rumored to be plotting a hostile takeover, leveraging insider knowledge from Carlos's files. Sofia, too, faced challenges. Her rapid ascent drew skepticism from some executives, and Elena's remission required ongoing care, a constant reminder of what she'd fought for. Today, the Fiesta del Mar was a chance to celebrate their new beginning. Sofia watched Elena add a turquoise swirl to her starfish, her daughter's laughter a melody over the ocean's roar. "Mommy, look," Elena called, holding up her brush. "It's like the seas hugging the starfish." Sofia knelt, brushing a curl from Elena's face. "It's beautiful, mi amor. You're making Puerto Sol proud." Alejandro joined them, his hand grazing Sofia's shoulder. "She's got your spirit," he said, his dark eyes soft. "And your talent." Sofia's smile faltered as she caught sight of Javier Ortiz across the boardwalk, his sharp suit out of place among the festival's casual vibrancy. He was speaking to a group of investors, gesturing animatedly, his eyes flicking toward their booth. "Alejandro," she said quietly, "Javier's here." Alejandro followed her gaze, his jaw tightening. "He's been circling since Carlos's arrest. Mar Azul's pitching a rival resort project, claiming they're greener than us. They're using Carlos's old plans," Sofia said, her voice low. "I saw their proposal online, same eco-tech we developed. He must have leaked it before the arrest." Alejandro's hand clenched, but he forced a smile for Elena's sake. "We'll handle it. Today's about us, about Puerto Sol." Elena tugged at his sleeve. "Tio Alejandro, come paint with me. Make a lighthouse." He laughed, the tension easing. "Only if your mom joins us." Sofia hesitated, her eyes on Javier, then nodded. For you, Elena. They joined the mural, their brushes blending colors. Elena's starfish, Sophia's waves, Alejandro's lighthouse. A family portrait in paint. The crowd cheered, snapping photos. And for a moment, Sophia felt anchored, her past as a janitor fading against the warmth of this new life. But the moment shattered when Javier approached, his smile slick. Alejandro, Sophia, he said, nodding. Quite the family scene. Puerto Sol loves a good story. Javier, Alejandro said, his tone cool. Enjoying the fiesta? Immensely, Javier replied, his eyes on Sophia. Impressive rise, Ms. Reyes. From cleaning floors to VP. Inspiring or suspicious? Sophia's grip tightened on her brush, but her voice was steady. Hard work and truth tend to pay off, Mr. Ortiz. Javier chuckled, turning to Alejandro. Your merger with Horizon's making waves, but Mar Azul's offering investors a better deal. Our resort's already funded. Care to discuss a partnership? No interest, Alejandro said flatly. Torres Enterprises stands on its own. Javier's smile didn't waver. We'll see. The market's fickle, and trust is fragile. He walked away, leaving a chill in his wake. That evening, at Sophia's new office overlooking the ocean, the mood was heavier. Elena napped on a couch, her latest painting, a sailboat, propped nearby. Alejandro paced, his phone buzzing with emails from investors spooked by Mar Azul's campaign. Javier's spreading rumors, he said, his voice tight. Saying we're unstable after Carlos's betrayal, that you're unqualified as VP. Sophia's jaw clenched, but she kept her tone calm. They're scared because I'm not one of them, an outsider who rose too fast. But the numbers don't lie. Our profits are up, our projects are on track. I know, Alejandro said, stopping to face her. But Javier's got Carlos's files. He's using our own plans against us. If he undercuts us, we could lose the Horizon deal. Sophia stood, her eyes fierce. Then we fight back. I've been through worse, cleaning floors, fighting for Elena's life. We expose Javier's lies, just like we did Carlos's. Alejandro's gaze softened, admiration mixing with worry. You're incredible, Sophia. But this fight, it's not just business. Javier's personal. He was Carlos's mentor, blames me for his downfall. And you, he's targeting your credibility. Let him try, she said, stepping closer. I've got Elena, you, and the truth. That's enough. He took her hands, his thumb brushing her ring. I almost lost you once, Sophia. I won't let Javier hurt you or Elena. She squeezed his hands, her voice softening. You didn't lose me. You chose me, Alejandro, over fear, over betrayal. That's why I said yes to this ring. Elena stirred, rubbing her eyes. Mommy, is Tio Alejandro staying for dinner? Sophia smiled, brushing Elena's hair. If he behaves. I always behave, Alejandro said, winking. He crouched to Elena's level. What's for dinner, Artista? Tacos. Elena grinned, holding up her sailboat painting. And you can hang this in your office. Deal, he said, his heart swelling. But as they left for Sophia's apartment, Javier's threat lingered, a storm cloud over their joy. At Sophia's modest home in Barrio Azul, the walls glowed with Elena's art. Lighthouses, starfish, waves. Over tacos, laughter filled the air, but Sophia's mind churned. Javier's presence at the fiesta wasn't random. He was testing their resolve. After Elena went to bed, Sophia and Alejandro sat on the balcony, Puerto Sol's lights twinkling below. I checked Javier's filings, Sophia said, her laptop open. Mar Azul's funding comes from offshore accounts, same as Carlos's shell company. They're connected. Alejandro's eyes narrowed. He's finishing what Carlos started. But how do we prove it? I kept backups of Carlos's files, Sophia said. Recordings, emails. There's a call where Carlos mentions Javier as his silent partner. If we trace the money, we can expose him. It's risky, Alejandro said. Javier's connected, politicians, investors. If we're wrong. We're not, Sophia said, her voice fierce. I've lost too much to let him win. For Elena, for us. He pulled her close, the ocean's rhythm grounding them. Then we do this together. But we protect Elena first. Her treatment, any gaps? The hospitals covered everything, Sophia said, her eyes softening. Thanks to you. Not me, he said. You earned this life, Sophia. The next day, at Torres Enterprises, Sophia dove into the files, cross-referencing Carlos's records with Mar Azul's accounts. By noon, she found it. A $5 million transfer from Seoul International to Javier's personal account, dated a week before Carlos's arrest. She called Alejandro to the office, showing him the evidence. This ties Javier to the scam, she said. We present it to the board, shut him down. Alejandro nodded, but his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Back off, or Elena pays. Attached was a photo of Elena at the fiesta, painting her mural. Sophia's breath caught, her hands trembling. He's threatening my daughter. Alejandro's face darkened. He won't touch her. I'm hiring security for you both, today. Sophia shook her head, tears falling. I can't lose her, Alejandro. Not after everything. You won't, he said, pulling her into his arms. We'll end this, Sophia. Together. That night, Sophia couldn't sleep, her mind replaying Javier's threat. She slipped into Elena's room, watching her daughter sleep, a painting of a lighthouse beside her. Quietly, Sophia accessed the hospital's security codes, skills from her janitor days, and drove to Torres Enterprises. In Javier's leased office, she found a laptop, unsecured. Her heart raced as she copied files. Emails confirming Javier's role in Carlos's scheme, plans to sabotage Torres Enterprises, and a list of bribed officials. At dawn, she called Alejandro to her apartment. I've got everything, she said, showing him the files. Javier's done. You went alone? Alejandro's voice was sharp. Sophia, that was dangerous. For Elena, she said, her eyes blazing. I'd do anything. He kissed her forehead, his voice soft. I know, but we do this together now. The board meeting was set for noon. The auditorium buzzed, investors and executives filling the seats. Javier sat in the front row, his smile smug. Alejandro took the stage, Sophia beside him. We're here to address Mar Azul Ventures' campaign against us, he began. Sophia has uncovered evidence of their fraud. Sophia projected the files, bank transfers, emails, Carlos's recording naming Javier. Mar Azul is built on stolen plans and lies, she said, her voice clear. Javier Ortiz orchestrated a takeover, using Carlos Mendez's betrayal. Javier stood, furious. This is slander. Fabricated. Then explain this, Sophia said, playing a new recording from Javier's laptop. Carlos was sloppy, but I'll finish what he started. Torres is done. The room erupted. Puerto Sol police, alerted by Sophia, entered, arresting Javier for fraud and extortion. The board applauded, and Horizon CEO reaffirmed their partnership. As Javier was led away, he sneered at Sophia. You'll regret this, janitor. She smiled, unshaken. I'm VP now, Javier. And Puerto Sol's my home. Alone on stage, Alejandro hugged her. You're unstoppable, he said. We're unstoppable, she corrected, kissing him. 6 months later, Sophia stood on the boardwalk, her wedding dress flowing in the breeze. Elena, radiant in a flower crown, scattered petals, her latest painting, a family under a lighthouse, displayed at the altar. Alejandro's vows echoed over the waves. Sophia, you taught me courage, love, truth. I promise to stand by you always. Sophia's voice trembled. Alejandro, you saw me when I was invisible. I promise to build our future together. The Puerto Sol sunrise painted the sky in hues of coral and gold, casting a warm glow over the Torres family's new home. A sprawling villa overlooking the ocean, its walls adorned with Elena's vibrant paintings of starfish, lighthouses, and sailboats. Sofia Reyes Torres stood on the balcony, her hand resting on her slightly rounded belly, now for months pregnant. The sea breeze carried the distant sounds of the morning market, vendors calling out prices for fresh mangoes and conch, the rhythm of a steel drum band warming up for the day. Inside, Alejandro Torres sipped coffee, reviewing reports for Torres Enterprises' latest eco-resort project, while Elena, now 7 and thriving post-leukemia treatment, sketched a new mural design at the kitchen table, her crayons dancing across the paper. 6 months had passed since their wedding on the Puerto Sol boardwalk, where fireworks and Elena's joy had sealed their vows. Torres Enterprises was soaring, with Sophia's financial strategies securing a $2 billion partnership with Horizon Ventures for sustainable resorts across the Caribbean. Their story, janitor turned VP marrying the CEO, had become a Puerto Sol legend, celebrated in local murals and whispered in cafes. Elena's health was stable, her latest checkup clear, and the promise of a new baby filled their home with hope. But beneath the surface, currents of unease stirred. Javier Ortiz's arrest for fraud hadn't ended the threats. His allies, a shadowy network of investors called the Sol Syndicate, were rumored to be targeting Torres Enterprises, seeking revenge and control of Puerto Sol's tourism market. Sofia, despite her success, still faced murmurs from skeptical executives who questioned her rapid rise, and the pressure of her pregnancy and Elena's care weighed heavily. Today, the family was set to unveil a community arts center funded by Torres Enterprises, where Elena would lead a children's mural project. Sofia adjusted her sundress, the hibiscus flower tucked behind her ear, a gift from Alejandro, and called, "Elena, mi amor, ready for the opening?" Elena looked up, her green eyes, her father's eyes, from a man Sofia rarely mentioned, sparkling. "Mommy, I drew a dolphin for the mural. It's gonna swim with the stars." She held up her sketch, a dolphin leaping through a constellation of starfish. Alejandro joined them, his linen shirt open at the collar, his smile softening the lines of stress on his face. "That's a masterpiece, artista," he said, ruffling Elena's curls. "You're stealing the show today." Sofia caught his glance, sensing the unspoken weight. "Any news on the syndicate?" she asked quietly, ensuring Elena was focused on her crayons. Alejandro's jaw tightened. "My team tracked a $3 million transfer to a Sol Syndicate account, linked to a shell company in the Caymans. They're funding a rival project to undercut our resort launch next month." Sofia's hand instinctively went to her belly. "Javier's allies." "Likely," he said, his voice low. "Led by Camila Diaz, his former business partner. She's been meeting with our investors, spreading lies about financial instability." Sofia's eyes narrowed. "They're using Javier's playbook, divide and conquer. We need to lock down our investors before the launch." Alejandro nodded, pulling her close. "We will. But today, let's focus on the art center. For Elena, for Puerto Sol." The art center opening was a burst of color and life, set on the boardwalk where Fiesta del Mar had unfolded months ago. Stalls offered paintbrushes and ceviche, while children ran between easels, their laughter mingling with the ocean's song. Elena led a group of kids in painting a mural. A dolphin weaving through waves and stars, her confidence radiant. Sofia and Alejandro greeted community leaders, their hands entwined. But Sofia's eyes scanned the crowd, spotting Camila Diaz near a juice stand, her sleek blazer stark against the festival's vibrancy. "She's bold, showing up here," Sofia murmured to Alejandro. He followed her gaze, his posture stiffening. "She's testing us, wants to see if we're rattled." Camila approached, her smile polished but cold. "Alejandro, Sofia, what a charming event. Puerto Sol loves its fairy tales. Janitor to VP, now a happy family. Community matters to us," Sofia said, her tone steady. "Unlike some, we build, not destroy." Camila's eyes flicked to Sofia's ring. "Charming. But business isn't a fairy tale. Investors are nervous. Your company's had too many scandals. My resorts offer stability. Our resorts are fully funded," Alejandro said, his voice firm. "Horizon trusts us. You should too." Camila laughed softly. "Trust is a luxury, Mr. Torres. Enjoy your day." She walked away, her words lingering like a storm cloud. Elena ran over, paint smudging her cheeks. "Mommy, Tio Alejandro, look at the mural. It's done." They followed her to the canvas, where the dolphin shimmered under a starry sky, a beacon of hope. The crowd applauded, cameras flashing, but Sophia's heart raced. Camila's presence wasn't a coincidence. That evening, at the villa, Sophia tucked Elena into bed, her daughter clutching a paintbrush like a talisman. "Mommy, will the dolphin keep the stars safe?" Elena asked, her voice sleepy. "Always, mi amor," Sophia said, kissing her forehead. "Just like we keep you safe." Downstairs, Alejandro poured wine, his face etched with worry. "Camila's meeting with our biggest investor tomorrow, Rodriguez Capital. If she sways them, we lose $500 million. Sophia sat beside him, her laptop open. "I've been digging. Camila's tied to the Soul Syndicate through a hidden account. I found a transfer. $2 million, marked as consulting. It's Carlos's pattern all over again." Alejandro's eyes darkened. "She's playing dirty. And she knows about Elena. Saw her at the opening. If she's like Javier." Sophia's hand tightened on his. "She won't touch Elena. I've already contacted the hospital, increased security. But we need to act fast. Expose Camila before she poisons our investors." He nodded, pulling her close. "You're fearless, Sophia. I don't deserve you." "You do," she said, her voice soft but fierce. "You chose truth over fear. That's why we're here." Their moment was interrupted by a text on Alejandro's phone. "Pull out of the resort launch, or your family pays." Attached was a photo of Elena painting at the art center, her dolphin mural vivid in the background. Sophia's breath hitched, tears burning her eyes. "They're targeting her again." Alejandro's face hardened. "I'm calling my security team. No one gets near her." Sophia stood, pacing. "We can't just defend, we attack. I've got Camila's files, enough to tie her to the syndicate. We call an emergency board meeting, present the evidence, and shut her down." "It's risky," Alejandro said. "If we misstep, the investors pull out." "I've faced worse," Sophia said, her voice steel. "I cleaned floors to save Elena. I'll take down Camila to protect our family." He kissed her, his hands framing her face. "Together, then, always." That night, Sophia couldn't sleep, haunted by the photo of Elena. She slipped out, driving to the art center under moonlight. Using her old janitor access codes, she entered, her flashlight illuminating Elena's mural. Hidden in a storage room, she found a USB drive taped under a desk, Camila's, left carelessly after a meeting. It contained emails detailing the syndicate's plan: sabotage Torres Enterprises' resort launch by bribing inspectors to fail permits, then by the stalled project at a discount. At dawn, Sophia showed Alejandro the files at their villa. "This is it," she said, her eyes blazing. "Camila's done." "You went alone again?" Alejandro's voice was sharp. "Sophia, with the baby. For Elena. For us," she said, touching her belly. "I'm not just a VP. I'm a mother." He pulled her close, his voice breaking. "I know, but we end this together." The emergency board meeting was set for noon. The auditorium buzzed, investors and executives tense. Camila sat in the front row, her smile confident. Alejandro took the stage, Sophia beside him. "We're here to address a threat to Torres Enterprises," he began. "Sophia has uncovered a conspiracy led by Camila Diaz and the Soul Syndicate." Sophia projected the USB's files, emails, transfers, sabotage plans. "Camila's bribing officials to tank our resort," she said, her voice clear. "She's using stolen plans from Carlos Mendez." A recording played, Camila's voice. "Torres is weak after Javier. We'll bury them." The room erupted. Camila stood, furious. "This is fabricated. You're desperate." "Then explain this," Sophia said, showing a $2 million transfer to Camila's account. Puerto Sol police, alerted by Sophia, entered, arresting Camila for fraud and extortion. The board cheered, Rodriguez Capital reaffirming their investment. As Camila was led away, she sneered at Sophia. "You'll always be a janitor." Sophia smiled. "And you'll always be a fraud." Alone on stage, Alejandro hugged Sophia, whispering, "You're my lighthouse." "We're each other's," she replied, kissing him. 3 months later, the eco-resort launched, a beacon of sustainability on Puerto Sol's coast. Sophia, now 7 months pregnant, stood with Alejandro and Elena at the ribbon cutting, the crowd chanting their names. Elena's dolphin mural adorned the resort's entrance, a symbol of their triumph. At the celebration, Sophia announced, "We're naming the resort Centro Elena for our daughter's courage." Elena beamed, hugging them. "It's our family's lighthouse." Under Puerto Sol's stars, Alejandro whispered, "You changed my world, Sophia. And you gave me ours," she replied, the ocean roaring their victory. The Puerto Sol boardwalk pulsed with life under a late December moon, its fairy lights twinkling like stars reflected in the ocean. The annual Noche de Luces festival transformed the coast into a canvas of color, lanterns bobbing on waves, vendors offering tamales and hot chocolate spiced with cinnamon, and children painting glowing murals on temporary panels. Sofia Reyes Torres, now 8 months pregnant, stood at the Centro Elena art booth, her hand cradling her belly as she handed out brushes to young artists. Her wedding ring caught the lantern light, a quiet reminder of her journey from janitor to vice president of finance at Torres Enterprises. Nearby, Elena, 7.5, led a group of kids in painting a mural of a glowing lighthouse guiding ships through a starry sea, her laughter bright against the merengue band's rhythm. Alejandro Torres, in a tailored guayabera, mingled with festival goers, his warm smile masking the weight of recent pressures. 3 months had passed since the triumphant launch of Centro Elena, the eco-resort named for their daughter, which had solidified Torres Enterprises' dominance in sustainable tourism. Sophia's financial acumen had secured a $1.5 billion expansion deal with Horizon Ventures, planning resorts in Belize and Jamaica. Their family had grown stronger. Elena's leukemia remained in remission, and the imminent arrival of their son, to be named Mateo after Sophia's late father, filled their villa with anticipation. Puerto Sol celebrated them as local heroes, their story immortalized in a boardwalk mural of a dolphin and lighthouse, painted by Elena's art class. But new shadows loomed. The Sol Syndicate, crippled by Camila Diaz's arrest, had fractured, but a rogue member, Lucia Vega, Carlos Mendez's estranged sister, had surfaced, driven by a vendetta against Alejandro and Sofia for destroying her brother's legacy. Lucia, a former lawyer with ties to Puerto Sol's underworld, was rumored to be sabotaging Torres Enterprises' supply chains, delaying construction and spreading rumors of corruption. Sofia, meanwhile, faced internal challenges. Some board members questioned her maternity leave plans, doubting her ability to juggle motherhood and leadership. Tonight, the Noche de Luces was a chance to reaffirm their bond with Puerto Sol. Sofia watched Elena add a golden beam to her lighthouse mural, her daughter's focus a mirror of her own resilience. "Mommy, this light keeps the boats safe," Elena called, her paint-splattered hands waving. Sofia smiled, adjusting the hibiscus in her hair, a festival gift from Alejandro. "It's perfect, mi amor. You're Puerto Sol's light." Alejandro joined them, his hand resting on Sofia's back. "She's stealing hearts, just like her mother," he said, his dark eyes warm. But his gaze shifted to a woman in a sleek black dress near a lantern stall. Lucia Vega, her presence a discordant note in the festival's joy. Sofia followed his look, her heart tightening. "Lucia," she whispered. "What's she doing here?" Alejandro's jaw clenched. "She's been meeting with our suppliers, offering bribes to delay shipments. My team traced a $1 million payment to her account, linked to a syndicate remnant." Sofia's hand instinctively covered her belly. "She's after revenge, for Carlos, for Javier, for Camila." "We'll stop her," Alejandro said, his voice firm but low. "Tonight's for Elena, for us." Elena tugged at Sofia's dress. "Mommy, Tio Alejandro, paint with me. Make a starfish." Her green eyes sparkled, oblivious to the tension. Sofia forced a smile, kneeling carefully. "Only if you teach us, artista." They joined the mural, their brushes blending colors. Elena's lighthouse, Sofia's waves, Alejandro's starfish, a family etched in light. Festival goers cheered, snapping photos, but Sofia's eyes caught Lucia's cold stare before she vanished into the crowd. At the festival's climax, Lanterns were released into the sea, their glow mirroring the stars. Elena clutched Sophia's hand, whispering, "The lights are like my paintings, they make the dark pretty." Sophia hugged her, tears pricking her eyes. "You make everything pretty, mi amor." Back at their villa, the mood shifted. Elena slept, her latest painting, a lantern-lit sea, propped by her bed. Sophia and Alejandro sat in the study. The ocean's roar a steady pulse through the open window. Alejandro's laptop showed delayed shipment reports, costing millions. "Lucia's strangling our supply chain," he said, his voice tight. "If we don't deliver the Belize resort on time, Horizon could pull funding." Sophia scrolled through her own files, her brow furrowed. "I found her bank records, $1.5 million from an offshore account, coded as Justice. She's using Carlos's old network." Alejandro ran a hand through his hair. "She's not just after the company. She blames us for Carlos's downfall, says we stole his future." Sophia's eyes hardened. "We exposed his betrayal. If Lucia wants a fight, she'll get one. I've survived worse, cleaning floors, saving Elena. She doesn't scare me." Alejandro took her hand, his thumb brushing her ring. "You're my strength, Sophia. But Lucia's dangerous, tied to cartels, according to my security team. And with the baby coming." Sophia's voice softened. "We protect our family first. Elena's school, the hospital, I've already tightened security. But we need to cut Lucia's funding, expose her to the board." Before Alejandro could reply, his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Your family's light fades if you don't back off." Attached was a photo of Elena's mural at the festival, a knife slashed through the lighthouse. Sophia gasped, her hand trembling. "She's targeting Elena again." Alejandro's face darkened. "I'm doubling security. 24/7 protection for you both. No one touches her." Sophia stood, pacing. "We can't just hide. I've got Lucia's files, emails, payments. We call a board meeting, show the evidence, and shut her down before she escalates." "It's a risk," Alejandro said, his voice strained. "If she's cartel-connected, she could retaliate." "I've faced betrayal before," Sophia said, her eyes fierce. "For Elena, for Mateo, I'll take her down." He pulled her close, the ocean's rhythm grounding them. "Together, Sophia. Always." That night, Sophia lay awake, the photo of Elena's slashed mural haunting her. She slipped into Elena's room, watching her daughter sleep, a painting of a starfish beside her. Quietly, Sophia drove to Centro Elena, using her old janitor codes to enter. In the art studio, she found a hidden burner phone under a paint can, Lucia's, left after a clandestine meeting. It contained texts detailing a plan to frame Alejandro for embezzlement, using forged documents to sway the board and seize Torres Enterprises. At dawn, Sophia showed Alejandro the phone at their villa. "This is our weapon," she said, her voice steady. "Lucia's framing you, but we've got her communications." "You went alone?" Alejandro's tone was sharp. "Sophia, you're 8 months pregnant." "For our family," she said, touching her belly. "I'm not just a mother, I'm your partner." He kissed her forehead, his voice soft. "I know. We end this together." The emergency board meeting was set for noon. The auditorium crackled with tension, investors and executives whispering. Lucia sat in the front row, her smile venomous. Alejandro took the stage, Sophia beside him, her pregnancy a quiet strength. "We're here to expose a vendetta against Torres Enterprises," Alejandro began. "Sophia has uncovered Lucia Vega's sabotage." Sophia projected the burner phone's texts. "Plans to frame Alejandro, bribe suppliers, and fund cartels. Lucia is using Carlos Mendez's network to destroy us," she said, her voice clear. A recording played. Lucia's voice. "Alejandro ruined my brother. I'll burn his empire and his family." The room erupted. Lucia stood, furious. "Lies. You're desperate, janitor." Sophia smiled coldly. "I'm VP, Lucia. And these are your texts." She showed a $1.5 million transfer to Lucia's account. Puerto Sol police, tipped off by Sophia, entered, arresting Lucia for fraud, extortion, and cartel ties. The board cheered, Horizon reaffirming their expansion deal. As Lucia was led away, she hissed at Sophia, "This isn't over." "It is for you," Sophia said, unshaken. Alone on stage, Alejandro hugged Sophia. "You're my beacon," he whispered. "We're each other's," she replied, kissing him. 6 months later, Sophia stood on the Belize resort's beach, cradling 3-month-old Mateo, his dark eyes mirroring Alejandro's. Elena, now 8, painted a mural of a sailboat for the resort's lobby, her health robust. Alejandro cut the ribbon for the new property, named Centro Mateo, the crowd roaring. At the celebration, Elena announced, "My mural's for our family, sailing together." Under Belize's stars, Alejandro whispered, "You built this, Sophia." "We did," she said, the ocean singing their legacy. The Puerto Sol coastline glowed under the April twilight, its waves whispering secrets to the shore. The annual Festival de las Artes, Puerto Sol's celebration of creativity, transformed the boardwalk into a kaleidoscope of color. Murals blooming on temporary walls, artisans selling woven baskets and conch shell sculptures, and the scent of grilled arepas mingling with the ocean's salt. Sofia Reyes Torres, now a mother of 2, stood at the Centro Elena art booth, cradling 9-month-old Mateo, whose dark eyes mirrored Alejandro's. Her pregnancy glow had given way to a quiet strength, her VP role at Torres Enterprises now a cornerstone of their empire. Beside her, Elena, 8 and radiant with health, guided a group of children in painting a mural of a coral reef teeming with fish, her brushstrokes bold and joyful. Alejandro Torres, in a crisp linen shirt, worked the crowd, his charisma drawing local leaders and investors to their vision of sustainable tourism. 9 months had passed since the launch of Centro Mateo in Belize, a triumph that had solidified Torres Enterprises as a global leader in ecotourism. Sofia's financial reforms had secured a $3 billion deal with Horizon Ventures for resorts in Costa Rica and the Dominican Republic, while Centro Elena's art programs had become a Puerto Sol institution, nurturing young talent like Elena. Their family was thriving. Elena's leukemia in remission, Mateo healthy and giggling, and their villa a haven of love, its walls adorned with Elena's paintings of dolphins, lighthouses, and now sailboats for her baby brother. Puerto Sol celebrated them, their story etched in a new boardwalk mural of a family under a starry sky. But beneath the harmony, a new wave stirred. A mysterious figure from Sofia's past, Rafael Morales, Elena's biological father, had resurfaced, sending cryptic letters demanding a meeting. Rafael, a former financial analyst turned fugitive after a fraud scandal at Deloitte, where Sofia had worked, claimed to have evidence that could unravel Torres Enterprises' reputation. Sofia, meanwhile, faced internal pressures. Board members questioned her focus on family over expansion, and Mateo's teething kept her sleepless, testing her resilience. Tonight, the Festival de las Artes was a chance to celebrate their legacy. Sofia watched Elena add a neon blue fish to her mural, her daughter's confidence a beacon. "Mommy, this fish is for Mateo," Elena called, her green eyes sparkling. "It's swimming to him." Sofia smiled, adjusting Mateo's sun hat, a hibiscus tucked into her own hair, a gift from Alejandro. "It's perfect, mi amor. You're painting our family's heart." Alejandro joined them, kissing Mateo's forehead. "She's our star, like her mother," he said, his voice warm but edged with fatigue. His eyes caught a man in a gray hoodie near a mural stall, watching them intently. "Sofia," he murmured. "That's him again, 3rd time this week." Sofia's heart skipped, recognizing the figure from photos in Rafael's letters. "Rafael," she whispered, clutching Mateo tighter. "He's been following us." Alejandro's jaw tightened. "My security team traced his letters to a motel in Barrio Azul. He's demanding a meeting, claiming he has dirt on our company, says it's tied to your Deloitte days." Sofia's face paled. "He's lying. I left Deloitte clean, but Rafael, he was involved in a fraud scheme. I testified against him anonymously. He must have found out." Alejandro's hand rested on her shoulder. "We'll handle it. Tonight's for Elena, for Mateo. Elena tugged at Sophia's skirt. Mommy, Tio Alejandro, paint with me. Make a coral for Mateo. Her enthusiasm cut through the tension. Sophia forced a smile, kneeling carefully with Mateo. Only if you show us how, artista. They joined the mural, their brushes blending colors. Elena's fish, Sophia's coral, Alejandro's waves. A family woven into Puerto Sol's art. Festival goers cheered, but Sophia's eyes tracked Raphael as he slipped into the crowd, a shadow in the twilight. At the festival's peak, children released painted kites into the sky, their colors dancing against the stars. Elena clapped, whispering to Mateo, "Your fish is flying, pequeño." Sophia held her children close, but Raphael's presence gnawed at her, a reminder of a past she'd buried. Back at the villa, Elena slept with a kite-shaped painting by her bed, Mateo in his crib. Sophia and Alejandro sat in the study, the ocean's rhythm a steady pulse. Alejandro's laptop showed delayed Costa Rica permits. Linked to a syndicate remnant Raphael was rumored to be aiding. "He's sabotaging our expansion," Alejandro said, his voice tight. "My team found a $500,000 payment to a local official traced to Raphael." Sophia scrolled through her own files, her brow furrowed. "He's using my old Deloitte access codes, ones I used before I was fired. He's framing me to look complicit." Alejandro's eyes darkened. "He wants to destroy us, me for taking you and Elena, you for testifying. He's threatening our family." Sophia's voice hardened. "I won't let him touch them. I've fought too hard, cleaning floors, saving Elena, building this life. We expose him, like we did Carlos, Javier, Lucia." Alejandro took her hand, his thumb brushing her ring. "You're my anchor, Sophia. But Raphael's a fugitive, dangerous, connected. He knows about Mateo." Sophia's eyes glistened, but her voice was steel. "Then we protect our children first. I've increased security at Elena's school and the hospital. But we need his evidence, what he's holding over us." Before Alejandro could reply, a letter slipped under the door, its handwriting chillingly familiar. Sophia opened it, her hands trembling. "Meet me at the old lighthouse, midnight, alone. Or Elena's story ends." A photo fell out, Elena painting at the festival, a red X over her face. Sophia gasped, tears falling. "He's targeting her." Alejandro's face hardened. "I'm calling my security team, full protection. No one gets near her or Mateo." Sophia paced, clutching the letter. "We can't just defend. I've got backups of my Deloitte files, emails showing Raphael's fraud. If we find his evidence, we can turn it against him." "It's too dangerous," Alejandro said, his voice strained. "You're a mother, Sophia. Mateo needs you." "For them, I'll risk anything," she said, her eyes fierce. "We call a board meeting, expose Raphael's lies, and end this." He pulled her close, the ocean's roar grounding them. "Together, Sophia. No secrets." That night, Sophia couldn't sleep, Raphael's letter burning in her mind. She slipped out, driving to the old lighthouse on Puerto Sol's cliffs, a relic from her childhood where she'd once dreamed of escape. Using her janitor skills, she picked the lock, her flashlight illuminating dusty walls. Inside, she found a hidden laptop. Raphael's, left after a meeting with syndicate contacts. It contained forged documents accusing Sophia of embezzling $2 million at Deloitte, designed to ruin her and Torres Enterprises. At dawn, she showed Alejandro the laptop at their villa. "This is his weapon," she said, her voice steady. "He's framing me to destroy our legacy." "You went alone?" Alejandro's tone was sharp. "Sophia, with Mateo. For our children," she said, touching her belly where Mateo had grown. "I'm their mother, your wife." He kissed her, his voice breaking. "We end this together." The emergency board meeting was set for noon. The auditorium buzzed, investors and executives tense. Raphael, disguised in a suit, sat in the back, his smirk hidden. Alejandro took the stage, Sophia beside him, Mateo in a carrier against her chest. "We're here to protect Torres Enterprises' future," Alejandro began. "Sophia has uncovered a plot to frame her and destabilize us. Sophia projected the laptop's files. Forged documents. Rafael's emails to syndicate allies. Plans to sabotage the Costa Rica resort. Rafael Morales, a fugitive, is behind this, she said, her voice clear. A recording played. Rafael's voice. Sophia betrayed me at Deloitte. I'll ruin her family, starting with her daughter. The room erupted. Rafael stood, furious. Lies. She's the fraud. Sophia smiled coldly. Then explain this. She showed a $500,000 transfer to Rafael's account. Puerto Sol police, tipped off by Sophia, entered, arresting Rafael for fraud, extortion, and threats. The board cheered, Horizon reaffirming their expansion deal. As Rafael was led away, he hissed at Sophia, "You'll pay for this." "You already did," she said, cradling Mateo. Alone on stage, Alejandro hugged Sophia, Mateo gurgling between them. "You're my wave," he whispered. "We're each other's," she replied, kissing him. 1 year later, Sophia stood on the Dominican Republic resort's beach, Mateo toddling beside her, Elena painting a mural of a starfish for the lobby. Alejandro cut the ribbon for Centro Familia, their third resort, the crowd roaring. At the celebration, Elena announced, "My mural's for us. Our family shines." Under the stars, Alejandro whispered, "You're our truth, Sophia. And you're our home," she said, the ocean singing there forever. The Puerto Sol dawn broke in a blaze of turquoise and amber, the ocean's rhythm a heartbeat for the coastal city. The annual Regata de Esperanza, a sailing festival celebrating Puerto Sol's maritime heritage, filled the boardwalk with life, sailboats bobbing in the harbor, vendors offering grilled shrimp and mango smoothies, and children painting kites shaped like fish and stars. Sofia Reyes-Torres stood at the Centro Familia booth, her VP badge gleaming as she handed out flyers for Torres Enterprises' new ecotourism scholarship program. Mateo, now 18 months, toddled beside her, clutching a toy sailboat, his giggles blending with the sea's song. Elena, 9 and vibrant, led a group of kids in painting a mural of a sailboat racing under a crescent moon, her brushstrokes confident and bold. Alejandro Torres, in a navy polo, worked the crowd, his easy charm drawing investors and locals to their vision of a sustainable future. A year had passed since Rafael Morales' arrest, cementing Torres Enterprises as a global leader in ecotourism. Sophia's financial strategies had secured a $4 billion deal with Horizon Ventures for resorts in Panama and Barbados, while Centro Familia's art and education programs had transformed Puerto Sol into a cultural hub. Their family thrived, Elena's leukemia in remission, Mateo growing strong, and their villa a sanctuary of love, its walls alive with Elena's paintings of coral reefs, lighthouses, and now sailboats for Mateo. Puerto Sol's boardwalk bore a new mural of their family sailing under starry skies, a testament to their legacy. But a new threat loomed. Global conglomerate Oceanic Ventures, led by ruthless CEO Isabella Navarro, was exploiting Puerto Sol's coral reefs, proposing a luxury resort that would destroy the ecosystem and undercut Torres Enterprises. Isabella, a former colleague of Carlos Mendez, held a personal grudge against Alejandro for his role in Carlos's downfall. Sofia, meanwhile, faced internal doubts. Board members questioned her ability to lead global expansion while raising 2 young children, and Mateo's recent ear infections kept her awake, testing her resilience. Today, the Regata de Esperanza was a chance to rally Puerto Sol's spirit. Sofia watched Elena add a silver moon to her mural, her daughter's joy a beacon. "Mommy, this sailboat's for Mateo," Elena called, her green eyes sparkling. "It's racing to the stars." Sofia smiled, adjusting the hibiscus in her hair, a festival gift from Alejandro. "It's beautiful, mi amor. You're Puerto Sol's light." Alejandro joined them, scooping Mateo into his arms. "She's our captain, like her mother," he said, his voice warm but strained. His eyes caught a sleek yacht in the harbor, Oceanic Ventures logo gleaming on its hull. "Sophia," he murmured, "Isabella's here." Sophia's heart tightened, spotting Isabella Navarro near a regatta stall, her tailored suit stark against the festival's vibrancy. "She's scouting," Sophia whispered. "Her resort plans threaten our reefs and our business." Alejandro's jaw clenched. "My team found her permits, fast-tracked with bribes. She's using Carlos's old syndicate contacts to push it through." Sophia's hand rested on Mateo's head. "She wants to destroy what we've built, our legacy, our home." "We'll fight her," Alejandro said, his voice firm. "Today's for Elena, for Mateo." Elena tugged at Sophia's hand. "Mommy, Tio Alejandro, paint with me. Make a star for Mateo." Her enthusiasm cut through the tension. Sophia knelt, balancing Mateo. "Only if you lead, artista." They joined the mural, their brushes weaving colors. Elena's sailboat, Sophia's moon, Alejandro's stars, a family etched in hope. Festival goers cheered, but Sophia's eyes tracked Isabella as she spoke to local officials, her smile sharp as a reef's edge. At the regatta's climax, sailboats raced across the harbor, kites soaring above. Elena clapped, whispering to Mateo, "Your star's flying, pequeño." Sophia held her children close, but Isabella's presence lingered, a storm brewing. Back at the villa, Elena slept with a kite-shaped painting by her bed, Mateo in his crib. Sophia and Alejandro sat in the study, the ocean's roar a steady pulse. Alejandro's laptop showed Oceanic Ventures' plans, dredging Puerto Sol's reefs for a mega-resort, threatening marine life and local tourism. "She's promising jobs to sway the council," Alejandro said, his voice tight. "If she wins, our resorts lose credibility." Sophia scrolled through her files, her brow furrowed. "I found her funding, $10 million from a syndicate-linked account in Panama. She's using Carlos's network, just like Rafael." Alejandro's eyes darkened. "She blames me for Carlos's fall, says I stole his vision, and she's targeting you. Spreading rumors you're stretched too thin as a mother and VP." Sophia's voice hardened. "Let her try? I've fought through worse, cleaning floors, saving Elena, protecting Mateo. We expose her, like the others." Alejandro took her hand, his thumb brushing her ring. "You're my strength, Sophia." But Isabella's ruthless. Her syndicate ties run deep. She knows about our kids. Sophia's eyes glistened, but her voice was steel. "Then we protect them first. I've tripled security at Elena's school, Mateo's daycare, the hospital. But we need her plans, the real ones, not the public version." Before Alejandro could reply, a drone buzzed outside, dropping a package on their balcony. Sophia opened it, her hands trembling. A USB drive with a note. "Stop the reef project, or your children sink." A photo showed Elena and Mateo at the festival, red circles around their faces. Sophia gasped, tears burning. "She's targeting them." Alejandro's face hardened. "I'm calling my security team, full lockdown. No one gets near them." Sophia paced, clutching the USB. "We can't just hide. This drive, it's got her real plans. We expose her to the council, the board, Puerto Sol." "It's dangerous," Alejandro said, his voice strained. "Isabella's connected, cartels, politicians. If we push, she'll hit back." "I've faced betrayal before," Sophia said, her eyes fierce. "For Elena, for Mateo, I'll take her down." He pulled her close, the ocean grounding them. Together, Sophia. No risks alone. That night, Sophia lay awake, the photo haunting her. She slipped out, driving to Centro Familia's office, using her old janitor codes. In a storage room, she found a hidden tablet, Isabella's, left after a meeting with bribed officials. It contained emails detailing reef destruction, fake environmental reports, and a plan to frame Torres Enterprises for illegal dredging. At dawn, Sophia showed Alejandro the tablet at their villa. "This is our weapon," she said, her voice steady. "She's lying to Puerto Sol." "You went alone?" Alejandro's tone was sharp. "Sophia, with the kids." "For them," she said, her hand on his. "I'm their mother, your wife." He kissed her, his voice breaking. "We end this together." The emergency council meeting was set for noon, with the board and media invited. The auditorium buzzed, locals and investors tense. Isabella sat in the front row, her smile smug. Alejandro took the stage, Sofia beside him, Mateo in a carrier, Elena by their side. "We're here to protect Puerto Sol's reefs," Alejandro began. "Sofia has uncovered Oceanic Venture's deception." Sofia projected the tablet's files, emails, fake reports, syndicate payments. "Isabella Navarro plans to destroy our reefs for profit," she said, her voice clear. A recording played, Isabella's voice. "Torres is weak. We'll crush their eco-image and take Puerto Sol." The room erupted. Isabella stood, furious. "Fabricated. They're desperate." Sofia smiled coldly. "Then explain this." She showed a $10 million transfer to Isabella's account. Puerto Sol police, tipped off by Sofia, entered, arresting Isabella for fraud, environmental crimes, and extortion. The council cheered, Horizon reaffirming their deal, and locals vowed to protect the reefs. As Isabella was led away, she hissed at Sofia, "You'll regret this, janitor." "I'm VP, Isabella," Sofia said, cradling Mateo. "And Puerto Sol's my home." Alone on stage, Alejandro hugged Sofia, Elena clinging to them. "You're my crest," he whispered. "We're each other's," she replied, kissing him. 8 months later, Sofia stood on the Panama Resort's beach, Mateo on her hip, Elena painting a mural of a kite for the lobby. Alejandro cut the ribbon for Centro Esperanza, the crowd roaring. At the celebration, Elena announced, "My kite's for our family, flying forever." Under Panama's stars, Alejandro whispered, "You're our courage, Sofia. And you're our anchor," she said, the ocean singing their triumph.